So I recently restarted Bayonetta 3, and this time without all the noise and the digital foundry and the frame rate and all that other stuff that was just making the headlines for the game. I restarted it and I wanted to have a clean slate playing the game again. Now, this is before the big update that we're going to go over that changes a number of things in the game. But one thing that I've noticed about the game is that I enjoyed it so much more when I was simply just playing the game and enjoying it for what it was. Now, is the game perfect? Absolutely not. There's some things here and there and stuff that's absolutely valid in terms of what some people were saying before the game launched and even after the game launched as well. But one thing that I did notice is that I had a hell of a time just playing the game and enjoying it and not listening to anything around it and forming my own opinion in terms of things. And I will have a big video for you guys talking about that when it comes to my review of Bayonetta 3. I put over 25 hours in there. I've unlocked so much of the extra content, and I think that I have a very good take on this game and where it's going to end up in terms of what people say in the future when the next Bayonetta game does come out. So let's first go over the news with Bayonetta 3 though, and that is the huge update that just dropped recently, and this is almost a game-changing update when it comes to things. Now, I have tested it out for performance. I know that's going to be the big thing that everybody wants to know, is that if the performance is fixed up. And to be honest, I don't have the machines. I can't hook up stuff. All I can do is go into certain levels and play it and see how it feels compared to what I played before. So I played a lot of hours pre-patch, recently beat the game, I think last week, and then last night I jumped into it myself to check out the new content and check out what they've done with Viola and other things. So here's what I'm going to say with this. When it comes to performance and all of that, it seems like it plays a bit more stable on certain levels. I'm pretty sure that it's not obviously locked in at 60 frames per second or anything like that, but we definitely need to see maybe Digital Foundry kind of go back in and check it. But from what I was playing, things was a bit more stable in certain areas that I felt that there was issues beforehand. Now, once again, I don't have the exact capture equipment and doing all of that in terms of checking frame rate and all of it. I'm just going based off of what I've played. But one thing that I do know that is big here based off the update is that the camera is a lot better and a bit more stable, doesn't swing around wildly at times, and it still has some issues where it kind of zooms in and it's kind of like transparent with some of the enemies and causes some things, but it's much better. But the big thing here with this patch is fixing Viola. Viola is actually fixed and she's much more fun to play at this point, and which, like I said, is pretty big and game changing because there's multiple sections in Bayonetta 3 where you have to use Viola, and it almost seemed like those were like the, oh my gosh, here we go, like the black sheep of us playing this game, because Viola's witch time dodging and so many other things was just really off in terms of her more like witch time blocking, I should say, because she doesn't get witch time when she dodges. So I wanted to go over a number of the different adjustments here because this is a huge patch. It took quite a while for me to download, even with super fast internet. So let's go over the Bayonetta 3 version 1.2.0 update. So the combat adjustments adjusted Viola's activation window for block and activation conditions for witch time. This is what I was talking about here. The block activation window added after releasing block during the release animation, added an additional animation when witch time takes effect, making its activation easier to realize, which you can clearly see now from the gameplay that I'm showing here. The allotted duration of witch time and its activation window have been lengthened. Now when block is activated, when player is attacked, player will receive damage effect, but block will succeed and activate witch time. Now combos can continue with dodge offset when a player uses block to activate witch time. For those who don't know what dodge offset is, it's when you do an attack and you hold down the button, dodge, and then continue the combo where you were left off at, which will get you a nice multiplier, get you kind of a continuation of your combo, your wicked weave, or whatever you're doing. So it's a nice thing to do in the game when you can pull it off. Now, if the block input is used repeatedly, the granted witch time duration will decrease. So there is a little bit of balance there, but essentially all of this makes Viola way more fun to play. Now, further adjustments have been made to prevent Viola's evasive input and Cheshire's summoning input from activating Assault Slave while maintaining invincibility if they are used in rapid succession. Weapons like Simoon and Titarius and Viola's charge attacks can now continue to hold charge even if dodged or blocked. So very good there. The Wink Slave can also be activated from the combos Punch Kick Punch and Punch Kick Kick for weapons the G Pillar, Dead End Express, and Cassiopeia. P is punch, K is kick. So once again, adding functionality and better, just smoother gameplay to overall all the weapons here. Now, equipping the accessories Infernal Communication and Poli's Butterfly to summon devils and butterflies is now possible to cancel the summoning motion by dodging or blocking. And this is your ticket to pure platinums for the most part, guys, when it comes down to it. So you definitely want to have that Poli's Butterfly ready to go from the gates of hell. Now, there is other stuff when it comes to Niflheim and what they've done there. They've adjusted it, made it a lot easier to get through some of these in all the different chapters. So that's definitely a good thing, because some of them I struggled a bit with the time limits and stuff. So very good there. Now, the tri-colored keys. Now, this is the big thing, because there is a big game that's coming out in March of this year, March 17th, and that's Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon. Now, for those who don't know, there is actually a whole, like, I would say prologue to that game in Bayonetta 3, like a whole separate thing. That's where we first kind of saw this whole thing with Bayonetta Origins. They turned it into a whole game, but there's a section in Bayonetta 3 about that, and it's through the tri-colored keys and the old picture book. It's much easier to get them. I actually booted up my game and bam, it was right there, ready to go. So there you go. If you want to get in on that, you can play it. It's essentially the first part of that Bayonetta Origins game that's coming out this March. And it's actually pretty fun. I was playing through it. I had a lot of fun myself. Now, there's other changes as well with the Golem treasure chests, and these things can just be a pain because you have to watch the animation of them floating each time. Now, at this point, you no longer have to watch that. You can, well, you have to watch it, but you can speed it up. And they've also adjusted the game balance, and they've also made the camera better. They actually called it adjustments have been made to reduce situations with poor camera visibility, and there's a ton of bug fixes. So this is definitely a good update. This is a huge update for Bayonetta 3. I think that it fixes a number of things in the game. Obviously, it's probably still not perfect with the frame rate and everything. So I think that this is absolutely a great thing that they've done here for Bayonetta 3. I'm really liking the updates to Viola and what they've done to kind of make things a bit easier and also set things up for multiple playthroughs. So I'm definitely going to go back and play through it again. I'm having fun using some of the broken weapons that you get after you've beaten the game and going back and getting pure platinums. And now with the adjusted camera and other things, it's going to be even better to play the game. So very good stuff there, and hopefully they actually continue to update and do some different things here. But I like the fact that they did this. So what are your thoughts on this, guys, when it comes to this big update for Bayonetta 3? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, next up is Persona 5 Royal. We've got a brand new update for this game as well on the Nintendo Switch. It's version 1.02, and here are the notes. It's not much, and it's not as in-depth as Bayonetta 3, that's for sure. So Persona 5 Royal patch notes: fixed an issue where the screen dims during gameplay. That's not good. Also fixed a network error that occurs under specific conditions. Now, obviously, we finally got Persona 5 Royal on the Nintendo Switch last October. It released pretty close to the launch of Bayonetta 3, so we were getting just excellence on the Nintendo Switch back then in October, and I'm very happy for it. The thing that I wish they would have updated for it was made it available to use the analog stick in the game when it comes to like picking menus and stuff like that. I think they still have it to where you have to use the D-pad, and if you're using a Nintendo Switch Pro controller or even a lot of the other controllers or even just Joy-Cons, it can be quite uncomfortable to reach over. There is one controller that I really like to use with Atlas games because for some reason Shin Megami Tensei 5 is also like that, where they force you to use the D-pad for menus in the battle system, and it is the SN30 Pro, that controller, like the really nice one with the handles. I'll have a picture of it on screen, and it works incredibly well for Shin Megami Tensei 5 because it has a big D-pad right there, almost like a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 setup, and the analog sticks are in the center there, so it's a really nice big D-pad for you to use so you can pick your menus here. But I'm not sure if this update fixed that, or it's maybe something that I actually got wrong, but I'm pretty sure based off of SMT5 and also based off my time with Persona 5 Royal that they make you use the D-pad for picking that and you can't use the analog stick. So yeah, I wish they would update that. Atlas, we need to talk about that when it comes down to the updates here. But this is good. This is definitely good. You don't like network errors, which I have heard people complain about that, and also dimming during gameplay. That's obviously something that you don't want to see as well. So to me, these updates are fantastic, both when it comes to Bayonetta and also when it comes to Persona 5 Royal. Persona 5 Royal is one of the best RPGs ever created. So if you have not picked up that game yet, I highly recommend to pick it up. And also Bayonetta 3, that game's incredible as well. I'm just having a ton of fun playing games on the Switch right now. So next up, we're going to talk about Fire Emblem Engage, because there is some new content and footage and what's going on with this game and details information. I want to break it all down for you guys. Shout outs to Satsuma FS. He's done some translations from the official Fire Emblem JP Twitter account. So we're going to talk first about this new footage here and the animals in the game. So this is actually a more in-depth system than I even thought for Fire Emblem Engage, because in this game, you're going to be able to give shelter to animals you find all over the world. Now, you can take them back to Somniel, can be taken to either the animal house or to let roam, and by interacting with them on the fields, they may drop food and such. So it's a whole little mechanics and system built into it. When I first saw this in the Somniel trailer, I just thought, okay, it's just some animals here. Maybe you might get some resources, stuff like that, whatever the case is. But there's a little bit of depth when it comes down to it in terms of where you put them and what you can get. And I think that it might be vital in some aspects of the game. So this is very good to see that, especially food, because there is going to be a diner where you can go and make food, and then you can improve the relationships with your other teammates. So I definitely like that. Now, by investing in countries through the notice board and learning new methods for raising animals, you can increase the number of animals you can shelter. So this ties directly into it. But once again, like I said, it creates like a whole mechanics and systems for this whole animal shelter thing that you're doing here. And obviously it's a pretty cool thing. People love animals, but you can actually invest money into different countries to where you can get different animals in terms of raising stuff with the notice board. That's actually pretty cool here. I like that they're doing extra stuff like this. And I think that this Fire Emblem game, it really focuses in on the combat and the battles and the story, with the singular story and the emblem rings and everything. But then some of the side stuff, it's not anything too crazy, but it's just cool enough to say, okay, heck yeah, I want to do that. But it doesn't detract from what this game is. And that is an anniversary story and combat focused Fire Emblem game. So awesome stuff with these extra little things in the world map and the investment. I like all of this stuff. Now, next up, we've got another new character reveal, and this is an exciting one because we finally have the Dancer class. You guys all know the Dancer class is legendary in Fire Emblem lore because Dancers can let you move again on your turn. So if you have someone that's really good and you want them to move again, this can be make or break for characters surviving or not. So we've got a new character announcement, and his name is Seedal. So another character introduction has come in for Fire Emblem Engage, providing us a look at Seedal. Once again, the information comes via the official Japanese Twitter account. And once again, shout outs to Satsuma FS for providing translations for a lot of this stuff. Now, Seedal, a famous dancer for Psalm, has a mysterious aura and elegant charisma. As a skilled fortune teller, he can see allies' fortunes. Seedal begins Fire Emblem Engage with the Dancer class. This is an artist who shows off an alluring dance. Additionally, dancers can use the dance command on allies whose turns have already ended, which lets them move again. Now, once again, you guys are seeing some new footage here that's been compiled, and yes, I am loving the dancer classes. You need them when it comes to hard mode or maddening and all that. You just need the dancers. They're just so good. Lets you attack again if you have something that you need to do. This could be the difference between winning or losing. But once again, the animations, what they've shown here for Seedal, the graphics and what they've shown here is definitely a step above what they showed in Fire Emblem Three Houses, or what we got more like it. And I'm just loving all the little attention to details with the battle menus, how they position their hands and the combat and everything. It's just incredible to see what they've done here. Now, I know that there's been some apprehensiveness when it comes to Fire Emblem Engage. And to be honest, every time that I do my streams, I hear some people kind of come in and say, oh, well, I wasn't sure at first, but now the new trailers are kind of blowing me away. But I think I was sold from pretty much day one because it's intelligent systems and it's Fire Emblem. Now, not everybody has the same experience when it comes to what they like with old school Fire Emblem and new school Fire Emblem, and I completely understand that 100%. But one thing that I know, since I've been playing Fire Emblem hardcore since Awakening and up, I've always been really happy with whatever they decided to do when it comes to story and combat, with some issues here and there, but the games are always really fun to play, and that's really what it comes down to. How fun is it? And this game looks like it's going to be just as fun, if not more fun, than previous Fire Emblem games. So I'm loving what they're showing off here. Shout outs to Seedal, shout outs to the Dancer class. We got got to get this going. Fire Emblem Engage coming out next week. January 20th is the time that I'm recording this video, so that's going to be super exciting. I am going to have extra content for you guys when it comes to tutorials and also gameplay videos, and I've actually already started covering a lot of the stuff with online multiplayer and more. So if you want to see more on Fire Emblem Engage or get ready for the combat, have explanations, see all the features, which I have detailed, I'll have a video for you guys, link in the description below. Make sure you go check it out because there's some really cool online multiplayer and other things with Fire Emblem Engage, and I've been doing tons of content on there, so make sure you guys check those out, especially if you're a beginner. I have some beginner videos in terms of talk about what Fire Emblem is, and we'll have more stuff for people that are new, tutorials. It's just going to be a lot of fun, but check out the videos, link in the description below. But that's going to wrap it up here, guys. Thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys for the next one. Peace out.